Namaste or Sat Sri Akal. Welcome to my show, Family Law with Sushma Awtani. I'm a specialist solicitor in divorce and matrimonial finance, and I work at a firm called Taylor Rose TTKW. I'm based in Moorgate, and Taylor Rose TTKW have 700 experts nationwide. मैं Resolution के भी member हूँ. Resolution is a family lawyers organization who believe in a constructive, non-confrontational approach to family law matters. I'm going to start this show by talking about the no-fault divorce. And the good news is that after 30 years, 30 साल के बाद, 30 साल का campaign के बाद, this is now coming into effect from autumn 2021. This is to reduce conflict between separating clients. So hopefully it'll be the end of the blame game, and the purpose is to reduce family conflict. As a result, we will be able to better support separating families to come to a constructive, amicable arrangement that benefits everybody, particularly children. अभी जो divorce के grounds हैं, they are that the marriage must have broken down irretrievably, and this has to be proved by one of 5 reasons, which is either adultery, separation with 2 years and consent, 5 years separation, desertion, or the main ground which is used now most of the time, which is unreasonable behavior. तो जब clients आते हैं मुझे मिलते हैं और कहते हैं कि हमारी शादी चल नहीं रही और we want to have a divorce, sometimes they're filled with horror when I say to them that they have to either apportion blame or that they have to wait at least 2 years. So with the new changes, as the chair of Resolution put it, no fault is going to be the default. And the new changes seek to make separation less traumatic. Does having fault protect the institution of marriage? Well, MPs thought that people are put off divorce if you make it more difficult. However, this is not true. जब लोग decide करते हैं कि हमें divorce चाहिए, उनको ये पता नहीं होता कि हमें क्या करना है, क्या लिखना है, क्या नहीं लिखना. वो सिर्फ डिसाइड करते हैं कि अनफॉर्चुनेटली सैडली हमारी शादी नहीं चल रही है and we need to have a divorce. The complaints about no-fault divorce is that it will increase divorce numbers because it'll become easier to maybe have a divorce. The law in Scotland changed in 2006, whereby they reduced periods of separation, and 95% of their divorce is actually based on no fault. They did experience a short-term increase, but this went down again afterwards. Many countries are doing it, and we are just catching up. At the moment, it's a painful process. जब कोई शादी करता है, वो कभी नहीं सोचता कि हमारी शादी टूट जाएगी. You know, nobody goes into marriage with that intention. It's a very sad circumstance of the law, and I believe it would reduce conflict when it arises. Where divorce is inevitable, the bill seeks to make the legal process less painful. The Conservative MP, Jonathan Gullis, said he had to put the blame on his partner during his own divorce, saying that it was a very painful process for him, and he would have preferred to have had a no-fault divorce. People may still blame each other, but blame won't be part of the formal process in order to obtain a divorce. And like I said, this very much supports children. Now, it was the case of Tinny Owens which thrust the country's lack of provision for no-fault divorce into the spotlight. Even spouses mutually seeking to end a marriage must, unless they have been living apart, assign blame and often make damaging allegations which inflame potentially amicable proceedings. तो इस केस में क्या हुआ था कि एक औरत थी from Worcestershire She wanted to have a divorce. She had been married for 40 years. But her husband did not want the divorce, and he contested the split. The law stated she could only obtain a divorce by living apart from him for 5 years. वो बहुत नाखुश थी अपने मैरिज में, लेकिन ये केस सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक गया, लेकिन फिर भी ये केस रिफ्यूज़ हो गया, and judges ने ये कहा that it was up to Parliament to change the law. So it's the impact on children that has really brought about this change. A Ministry of Justice spokesman said, "We will always uphold the institution of marriage, but when divorce cannot be avoided, the law must not create conflict between couples excuse me, that so often harms the children involved." So it's really the impact on children of conflict in divorce. It can be very shocking, क्योंकि जब पेरेंट्स सेपरेट करते हैं तो बच्चे के ऊपर बहुत एडवर्स इफ़ेक्ट पड़ जाता है. कभी कभी वो अल्कोहल ले लेते हैं ज़्यादा, कभी कभी ड्रग्स में जाते हैं, कभी कभी उनके स्कूलिंग और एजुकेशन और एग्ज़ाम्स पे इम्पैक्ट होता है, क्योंकि एक पार्टी दूसरे पार्टी को ब्लेम कर रही है, क्योंकि उनको अनरीजनेबल बिहेवियर वो दिखाते हैं इन ऑर्डर टू ऑब्टेन द डिवोर्स. तो जब दूसरे पार्टी के पास ये पिटिशन जाता है और उसमें ये लिखा होता है कि आपने ये किया, आपने मेरे साथ ऐसा सलूक किया, वैसा सलूक किया, तो that creates more conflict, and which sadly does impact the children. Once the marriage is over, it should be shut down in a dignified, constructive, less conflicting way. And that is what is behind the no-fault divorce. There will, however, be a minimum time frame of 6 months, and this is the first time we have a minimum time frame for divorce. It's not a quickie divorce, but the new process is more kinder and dignified, and as I explained, focused more on children. Research shows that 80% of divorces will actually be slower. With regards to finances, at the moment मैं सबको ये एडवाइस करती हूँ जब उनका डिवोर्स प्रोसेस चल रहा है कि अपना डिवोर्स फाइनलाइज करने से पहले, मतलब डिक्री एब्सोल्यूट लेने से पहले, you must resolve your finances before applying for the decree absolute. And again, with the new process, I will still advise the same thing, in that not to apply for the decree absolute until finances are resolved. And we can still say that in the new process, that जब तक finances sort out नहीं होते, हम finalize divorce नहीं करेंगे, which is in the best interests of both the parties. So this comes into effect in October 2021. And the reason it's going to take this long is because of the work that needs to be done. The online portal needs to change, the rules need to be amended, the forms need to be changed, and it's going to take some time. Also, rules tend to change in April and October. And April will be too soon to get things done, to get all of these amendments done. Hopefully, with the no-fault divorce, people will be keen to engage into mediation, क्योंकि aggressive petition नहीं होगा जिसमें बहुत सारा blame लिखा होता है अभी, क्योंकि अभी हमें unreasonable behavior जब हम दिखाते हैं, it has to be substantial, क्योंकि उनको divorce चाहिए और it has to be approved, तो इसलिए हम पूरे grounds लिखते हैं. लेकिन जब ये no fault divorce आ जाएगा, then it should be a much less conflicting way of going through a divorce. It should reduce the emotional temperature to a level where people are more comfortable and also keen to engage in mediation. Also, the terminology is going to change. Currently, the decree nisi, जो एक Latin phrase है, is going to be replaced with the words conditional order. Decree absolute is going to change to final order. And petitioners will also become applicants. A petition will be known as an application for a divorce order. क्योंकि अभी ये जो phrases हैं decree nisi, ये Latin के phrases हैं, और जब कोई divorce कर रहा हो, उनको ये इतना समझ नहीं आता कि ये decree nisi क्या है. Whereas the new terminology is going to make it easier for lay people to understand the terms. तो जैसे कि पहले ancillary relief एक term था, which is actually a financial relief. So it's just to make things easier for couples to understand. Okay, so we are going to go on a short break, and I'll see you shortly after the break. Thank you.
Air India introduces additional flights from London Heathrow to Mumbai and a new direct flight from London Stansted to Mumbai from 14 February 2020. Fly in luxury on Air India Dreamliner with extra legroom in economy and flat beds in business class. For attractive fares, contact your travel agent now or visit airindia.in.
यूके में हिंदी का पहला अखबार जगत वाणी। चलो घर बनाते हैं और आपको मिलवाते हैं आपके अपने बिल्डर से। सिंह ब्रदर बिल्डर्स, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जसवंत सिंह ठेकेदार। हर तरह का बिल्डिंग वर्क, न्यू बिल्डिंग, एक्सटेंशन, रेनोवेशन, पैटियो, गार्डन, गैरेज या शेड, हर तरह का काम अनुभवी कारीगरों द्वारा, सेटिस्फेक्शन गारंटीड। 50 साल के अनुभव के साथ सिंह ब्रदर बिल्डर्स। फॉर फ्री एस्टिमेट कॉल 07930508888। दैट इज 07930508888।
The Akshay Patra Foundation has taken on a massive initiative to make sure that millions of people receive a freshly prepared plate of food. We are now serving over 1 million families, children, daily wage earners, migrant labor, and generally people who are deprived of a basic plate of food. We just do not want anyone to go to bed hungry. Please join us in this massive endeavor. This is a fantastic opportunity for all of us to come together and help millions. Every little penny that you donate will make a massive difference to hundreds of people. Thank you.
हिस्टन हाइड वेस्ट लंदन के सबसे शानदार होटल्स में से एक, with 303 air conditioned rooms and suites, one of the largest banquet spaces in London, meeting room for up to 1200 people, conferences, musical function, weddings या कोई भी गैदरिंग, मनपसंद भोजन, शानदार आयोजन और बेहतरीन वेन्यू, 400 गाड़ियों की पार्किंग के साथ। Histon Hyde. For bookings, call 0208 572 1818.
Namaste or Sat Sri Akal. Welcome back to Family Law with Sushma Awtani. So, if you are considering commencing divorce proceedings, जैसे कि मैंने अभी एक्सप्लेन किया, ये जो नया लॉ आने वाला है in autumn 2021, is it worth waiting for the new law to come into effect? After all, it will do away with any need to attribute blame for the breakdown of the marriage, and it will therefore reduce the chances of animosity and therefore make it much more likely that arrangements for any dependent children and finances will be sorted out amicably. Now, अगर आपको wait करना है till next autumn या नहीं, this will depend on your particular circumstances. So I can give you a couple of examples. जैसे कि अगर आपने अभी separate किया है from your spouse, and if your partner is being difficult and is unlikely to consent to a divorce and hasn't committed adultery, under the present law, your only options are to wait until you have separated for 5 years, or to allege that your spouse has behaved unreasonably, because they're not going to consent to 2 years because they're not cooperating. So if you don't want to allege blame and you don't want to rely on unreasonable behavior, and you can't wait 5 years because that is unbearable, then why not wait until the no-fault divorce comes in? क्योंकि अगर आपको blame नहीं डालना, then it might be an option to wait till October 2021, और फिर आपको blame apportion की कोई ज़रूरत ही नहीं होगी. So that may be the scenario where one may wait till next year. जो दूसरा scenario है is that आपको divorce issue करना है on the basis of your partner's unreasonable behavior, but उनको divorce नहीं चाहिए, and you are certain that they will take strong objection to any allegations that you make. If they defend the divorce, that will obviously make the divorce much longer. It may bring a lot of stress into your life, and not to mention that defended divorces are not cheap. अगर divorce defended नहीं है and it's just a straightforward divorce, then the fees are not so expensive. But with defended divorces, क्योंकि time ज़्यादा लगता है, there's lots of going back and forth, toing and froing, lots of letters, that will definitely increase costs. So then it might be better to wait for no-fault divorce instead of issuing right now. Because like I said, बहुत महंगा पड़ सकता है अगर दूसरी side defend करेगी divorce after seeing the grounds of unreasonable behavior. So her case different है. It'll obviously depend on your particular circumstances, and you know, it's best to take full proper legal advice, जहाँ पे मैं आपको पूरी तरह आपके सिनारियो समझकर फिर आपको गाइड कर सकती हूँ. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the recognition of foreign decrees. So अगर आपने overseas divorce लिया है, then an overseas divorce obtained by means of proceedings shall be recognized under Section 46(1) of the Family Law Act if it is valid in the country in which it was obtained, and at the relevant date either party was habitually resident in that country, domiciled in that country, or a national of that country. तो अगर आपको ज़्यादा advice चाहिए, then I can go into more details of that for you. तो अभी मैं क्या करूँगी? I will talk in general about the divorce procedure जो अभी है at the moment. So to apply for a divorce, पहले तो आपकी शादी को at least 12 months passed. 12 months should have passed, and it's generally an administrative process, which means that neither of you will usually need to see a judge to get the divorce, and it is almost always agreed by a judge on the paperwork submitted. The process is simple and straightforward. Obviously, this is just the divorce, not including finances or children. And it's simple as long as your spouse does not defend the divorce. Because like I explained, they are costly, but thankfully defended divorces are rare. क्योंकि अगर किसी को divorce चाहिए there's not much that the other party can really do. The document which starts the divorce is called a divorce petition. And the law in this country still requires one spouse to petition against the other, even if you both agree that there should be a divorce. The first thing that we ask for is हमें original marriage certificate चाहिए. And recently मेरे एक client को उसकी wife cooperate नहीं कर रही थी, उसको original marriage certificate नहीं दे रही थी. So we advised him to apply from the court. तो अगर दूसरी पार्टी cooperate नहीं कर रही है, it is still possible to actually obtain the marriage certificate and still make the application. Your lawyer will file a petition at court on your behalf, and जैसे मैंने कहा अभी तो ये 5 grounds हैं, so it'll either be adultery, 2 years separation and consent, 5 years separation, desertion, or the most popular ground जो हम अभी use करते हैं is unreasonable behavior. The person starting the divorce is called the petitioner, and the other spouse is called the respondent. For the purposes of any financial or children arrangements that need to be made, it doesn't matter in most cases who starts the divorce and why. And I will definitely talk about this in my further shows. So, agreeing the contents of the petition. तो जो law society recommend करती है, which not all solicitors do, from my experience, is that a draft of the divorce petition should be sent to the other spouse before it is filed at court. तो मैं क्या करती हूँ जब मैं petition prepare करती हूँ, उसमें मैं particulars लिखती हूँ और client या client के solicitor को भेजती हूँ for them to have a look before it is actually filed. It tends to be better to agree what is in the divorce petition if possible, as disputes about what goes in it can have implications for the smooth progress of the rest of the divorce arrangements. So that's always advisable. लेकिन मैंने ये भी cases देखे हैं, मेरे पास वैसे भी cases आए हैं जहाँ पे solicitor ने हमें भेजा भी नहीं petition या particulars, straight जाकर court में डाल दिया. And then when my client has seen it, he's felt very upset कि इसने ये लिखा मेरे बारे में, उसने वो लिखा मेरे बारे में. And that just increases conflict, it increases fees, it increases stress. And all of that could be avoided if we just follow the Law Society recommendations. If your spouse has committed adultery, it is technically possible to name the person with whom they committed adultery as a co-respondent in the divorce. However, we do not recommend that you do so unless you believe that your spouse is likely to defend the proceedings. हमारे experience में third party को name करना just raises emotional temperatures between the parties and makes it more difficult to agree on other arrangements like finances or children and stress and costs. The petition is filed at court with the court fee and the original marriage certificate. The court then sends the petition out with a form, दूसरे पार्टी को with a form for them to fill in called the acknowledgement of service. And in that form, जो दूसरी पार्टी है उनको ये लिखना है कि हम इस divorce को defend करते हैं या नहीं defend करते. And then the form has to be returned to the court. If the respondent has no intention to defend the divorce, that is the end of their part in the process, and all further steps are taken by the petitioner's solicitors. The next step is for the petitioner to complete a statement in support of the petition. This is another form that states that the contents of the divorce petition are true and asks for certain technical legal details, such as whether you have lived in the same household since a certain relevant date. Your lawyer will then file it at court with your application for a decree nisi. And the decree nisi is the second to last phase of the divorce. It means that the court has agreed that you are entitled to a divorce but has not yet made it final. After the court has received your application for a decree nisi, a judge will look at your papers to make sure that they fulfill the legal criteria. And if they do, the court will issue a certificate telling you where the decree nisi will be pronounced. तो ये जो decree nisi है ये open court में pronounce होती है, but there's no need for either of the parties to actually attend court. The judge just reads out a list of names of papers whose divorces have got to this stage that week. So although anyone can go along if they want to, you do not have to, and most people don't usually attend. At any time after the decree nisi, and obviously before applying for the decree absolute, as I explained, it's best to not apply for the decree absolute until financial arrangements have all been sorted out. 6 weeks and 1 day after the grant of decree nisi, the petitioner can apply for the decree absolute, which formally ends the marriage. So, bas, we've got a few minutes left before we end the show. Lekin, you know, I would just like to say it's great news that 30 saal ke baad, you know, there's been this campaign for 30 years, and you know, 30 saal ke baad isko royal assent mila hai, which is very good news. Kyunki jo resolution hai, they've been campaigning for this for over 30 years, and it's very good, and jinko ye apply hota hai, then you know, they can take advantage of it and wait till next year. But obviously, you know, October 2021 is a long time to wait. So unfortunately, if it's not possible to wait that long, then obviously it is quicker now, because the online divorce procedure is actually a quick process. So next year ke baad thoda slow ho jayega, because there's going to be a 6-month minimum wait time, which there isn't now. So, you know, it's got its pros and cons, and I think अगर आपको ज़्यादा डिस्कस करना हो तो आप कंसल्टेशन बुक कर सकते हैं, and I can sort of go through the pros and the cons with you to decide when is the best time to actually make an application. So बस 2 minute बाकी रह गए हैं till the end of the show. Last minute, I've just been told. So I will come back again next Thursday at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 7:30, where I will give you more information about family law, and I will come up with another area of the law for you. But we have come to the end of the show, and you know, the whole team here at MATV wishes you a good evening, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at the same time at 7 o'clock. Good night.